Hey guys, this is Spartacus here and welcome back to another video. If you missed yesterday's video, I highly recommend watching it before watching this video because I go over all the different gameplay changes that are going to be coming within Warzone when Season 1 of Vanguard does come out. Of course, I even showed off some images of the new Warzone Pacific map Caldera, so there is an incentive to actually go ahead and check out that video at least for the first few minutes. That way you get an idea what the new Warzone map is going to look like, and of course I do talk about all the different changes that are going to really change the way that I think Warzone is going to be played. But in this video, we're going to be talking about the things that have not been confirmed by Raven Software or by the Call of Duty themselves, essentially, on things that not only the community has been asking for, but questions that we are wondering that might actually change within this new map. And so all these different things are actually coming from Modern Warzone. He posted this list to actually give us an idea of like what is going to be missing within this next update. Like, for example, are there going to be FOV Slider for consoles? Is there going to be a Warzone ranked mode? You know, there's going to be a lot of different things that he brought up, and so I thought, you know what, why not make a video talking about all the things he listed here and just see what we can actually brainstorm and come up with to see if any of these changes that he, I guess, listed are actually going to happen, even though none of them have been confirmed yet. So thank Modern Warzone for actually providing this tweet out there. And of course, this guy has been a pretty good communicator when it comes to actual Warzone, I guess, information and leaked content that we hear early on. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started here because there is a lot to talk about. The first thing on this list is that is there going to be new leaderboard and stat resets for the Pacific version of Warzone, and will there also be an archive for old Verdansk stats, which I think this is actually a pretty good idea. It's something that I never really thought of myself, because if we just continue to have the same stats within Warzone, you know, they're not going to really fluctuate all that much throughout time, because we're just going to get more kills and more wins overall. And realistically, it just feels like it's going to be weird, because if you're someone who has maybe a low KD in Warzone, it's going to be very hard to actually bring that KD up, considering you're always going to have the same kills stacked on top of each other when we get this new map implemented. And so I think it would be kind of interesting to see if they did do a stat reset. Personally, if they did actually do a stat reset, I don't think I'd be really happy about that, because my stats, I feel like, aren't too great in Warzone right now, and I know every time I go back I feel like I perform worse than what my stats tell me. And so I feel like if they did a stat reset, then my stats will just look worse than during the Verdansk era. And so this is something that I don't know if it's going to happen. I really don't think it is, but I guess it's a good brainstorming idea that I never really thought of. That's cool that Modern Warzone actually brought up here in this list. The next thing is that is there going to be an FOV slider for consoles, whether that's the next gen or current gen consoles? And I feel like if they were to add an FOV slider to Warzone on consoles, I can totally see them adding it on current gen and next gen consoles, whether you're playing on the PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5, for example, because we did see an FOV slider on Black Ops Cold War on both versions of these consoles. And so the same thing can be said with Vanguard. So I don't see any reason why we can't get an FOV slider. Maybe there's something to do with the actual Modern Warfare application preventing us, or preventing, I guess, them for adding the FOV slider into the game. Who knows what the deal is, but definitely we should get an FOV slider. Are we going to get it on consoles? I really don't think so. The developers did say something on Twitter, or at least one of them said something about how that they're aware that the community wants this, but that's all he can say. He can't say anything else. So I feel like it's in the works, but I don't think it's going to be coming within Season 1 of Vanguard. And so I think we're going to have to wait a little bit longer for this to be implemented, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see what actually happens. Also, is there going to be a next-gen console update? What I mean by this, and what I believe Modern Warzone is saying in this list, is that is there going to be an enhanced version of Warzone that is going to be separate from the one that we currently see? So obviously the Warzone application that you play on the Xbox One compared to the Xbox Series X is the same application, whereas the Black Ops Cold War and Vanguard, for example, there are separate applications for both those games, because there's an enhanced version that's specifically meant for the Xbox Series X, so you can get that better graphic fidelity, I guess, and of course better frame rates compared to the Xbox One applications. And that's something we don't see currently within Warzone, and I personally would like them to have a next-gen console update for Warzone Warzone just so I can actually utilize it playing on my console, because for me personally, I play Warzone on PC, and that's mostly because I can get an FOV slider on PC, whereas on console I can't, and so that's really the reason that's preventing me from playing Warzone on console. But I think if they added a newer version of Warzone, a separate application of Warzone for the next generation consoles, I think that would give me a better incentive to actually take advantage of it while playing it on my Series X. Also, is the launch application going to be staying in the Modern Warfare game, or is it going to be moving to Vanguard? I definitely don't see this changing at all. I feel like if they were going to change the launch application for Warzone to Vanguard, they would basically have to, I guess, build Warzone from the ground up again. I mean, obviously they could probably copy and paste a bunch of stuff, but the thing is, Warzone plays like pretty much what Modern Warfare is, right? It plays just like Modern Warfare, and that's why I call Warzone Modern Warfare's Battle Royale, because even though we have Cold War guns in it, it still feels like you're playing Modern Warfare. And I personally don't think the launch application is going to be moved to Vanguard. I don't know why, I just don't see it happening. I just think it would be too much work on their hands to do that, and so I think we're still going to be seeing it in the Modern Warfare game to actually launch Warzone itself. And then also movement mechanics like tactical sprint delay and footstep audio. Like, are we going to be seeing different types of stuff like that? Like, are we going to be getting more Vanguard movement than Modern Warfare movement? But I feel like if we were to get more Vanguard movement, then the application will actually switch over to Vanguard instead of staying in Modern Warfare to actually launch Warzone itself. Personally, I don't think I see the movement mechanics changing at all. Maybe later after Season 1 they'll do some tweaking, but I just don't see anything like them changing things right now. And then also, are perks changing to Vanguard? Like, you know, like we do see a lot of the same perks in Warzone and of course in Modern Warfare and Vanguard, but Vanguard does like do some things a little bit differently with their perks. Like, for example, the Ghost perk, it only works while you're moving in Vanguard, but if you're playing Modern Warfare and Warzone, you don't actually have to be moving in order to stay invisible from enemy UAVs. And so I feel like this isn't going to change as well. I think the perks are going to stay exactly how we see them right now. I don't see Vanguard perks making their way into this game, but I mean, maybe they'll surprise us and it'll happen, but I just don't see it working for some reason. And then another thing is how attachments will work with old guns. Like, for example, Vanguard weapons get 10 attachments on each gun, and so that's something we already see right now with the STG and with the M1 Garand, since we were able to get early access with those before Vanguard even came out, and it shows with those variants you can use 10 attachments on them. But Cold War guns and Modern Warfare guns, you cannot use 10 attachments on them. So are we going to be restricted with only 5 attachments on those weapons, and Vanguard weapons are able to only get 10? I guess time will tell. I really couldn't tell you. I don't see them adding 10 attachments on all the other weapons that we see currently within Warzone, because then I feel like it will completely change the weapon balancing, because, you know, they've already done all this weapon balancing with like all these really powerful meta weapons in the past and had to nerf them to the ground, and now all of a sudden you can add 5 more attachments onto them. Then I really think the meta is going to change drastically, and there's going to be a lot of overpowered weapons, and I just think that's just something that they're not going to risk doing. So I don't think we're going to be seeing other weapons get more than 5 attachments. Only Vanguard is going to be able to hold 10 attachments on those guns. Moving on in the list, are there going to be new buy station offerings? Like, are there going to be different streaks we're going to be able to buy within the buy stations? I don't think so. I don't really know, if I'm being completely honest with you. I honestly don't know what they're going to do. This is one that I'm really stumped on. And then the next thing is, when will Rebirth Island return after its day 1 playlists are removed? I think this has actually been confirmed, even though I don't think they gave it an exact date, but this is a question I think some people are wondering, because we're only going to be able to play on the Caldera map, and we know Rebirth is coming back. They just didn't give us an exact date, but I mean, this is a question that honestly I'm not like too concerned like looking into. I know some people love playing on Rebirth Island, but for me personally, I mean, it's whatever. It's not a huge deal to me. I'm not a huge Warzone person anyway. Can you preview finishers in game? Because in Cold War you can preview finishers, but you can't preview them in Warzone, which I thought was really annoying, because every time I unlocked a new finishing move in like the Cold War Battle Pass, and then I go over to Warzone and I wanted to check it out, I couldn't, and wouldn't let me to. And so that would be really cool if they would allow us to do do that, but I don't know if they're going to add that. I really don't see them doing it for some reason. What exactly is the nerf to dead silence and heartbeat sensors? This is something I did discuss a little bit in my last video. They didn't give us any details of what the nerf is. Dead silence, they might change it to where that after you kill an enemy while dead silence is active, it doesn't reset dead silence. The countdown timer of like the actual field upgrade will still continue to go down. I could see them doing something like that, or maybe heartbeat sensors. With heartbeat sensors, I think the max distance you can see a dot on that actual heartbeat sensor, I believe it's 50 meters, and they might change it to like 30 meters or something like that. So that way you're not identifying enemies at a longer distance, or what else they could do with heartbeat sensors is maybe you could only detect enemies when they're staying still, but if they're moving, it won't detect them. So that could also be a possibility, but we'll have to wait and see how that works out. Also, is there going to be a ranked mode in Warzone? I don't think so. I think if there is going to be a ranked mode in Warzone, it's going to be a long time from now, and I feel like if they are developing it right now, it's in the early stages and it's something that they're not too focused on, and I just don't see it actually happening. Also, is the player count going to remain at 150? This is something I never even thought about. This number I definitely don't see changing at all, because it looks like the Caldera map is pretty similar in size to the Verdansk map. It might be slightly bigger, I could be wrong about that, but either way they do look pretty similar in size, and so I don't see any point in like increasing the actual player count in each game, but that's just my personal opinion. Also, what is the season 1 gulag going to look like? Because of course we did have the showers within Verdansk. I am quite positive they are going to change it up within the Caldera map, or maybe they'll keep it exactly the same. I doubt that. I don't know what's going to look like. I don't know what they're going to do. They could, one thing I think would be really cool for a gulag idea is make it where in like some ancient ruins area, and maybe there's like some sort of pit where they have like the people to brawl out in, but like there's like, but it's like overgrown. There's like, you know, I don't know, moss and like branches like coming through the bricks and stuff like that. I don't know. That would be really cool if they did something like that. That's just kind of an idea I had, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. And the last thing on Modern Warzone's list is, can players climb rocks? I thought this was kind of a funny one, because you can technically climb rocks in Warzone, but you're not really climbing them. Like, you don't see the mantle like type animation with your arms. Instead, you just kind of have to like glitch your way up by just keep pressing the, like spamming the A button or the space bar or whatever it is you use to jump, and try and hopefully get onto like a ledge and stuff like that. That's something that we definitely see within Vanguard right now, but being able to climb rocks, I think that would actually be pretty cool, especially if you're in a really sticky situation and you're like at the edge of the circle, and the only way to actually get to the next circle is to actually climb up some rocks, and sometimes you can't do that within the Verdansk map, and so that'd be really cool if there is something that they can do to make it where you can climb on rocks, I guess. But either way, those are all the different things that Modern Warzone listed that we pretty much have not had confirmed yet, but there's a lot of things I think has been on the community's mind on whether or not if they're going to be making some of these changes within this next update. So I guess time will tell. We'll just have to wait and see and wait for more details to come. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like, and of course subscribe to the channel for more Call of Duty videos every single day, and I shall catch you guys later.